This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Welcome to the Bethlehem Baptist Church, a Christ-centered multicultural church where our mission is to love God and serve people. We're on fire for the Lord, and the Lord has placed in my heart this ministry known as A Word from the Pastor's Heart, that I would invite guests every Thursday evening to share their journey in God's power and presence in helping God's people. I'm delighted this evening to have Marsha Eckenberg, who is Director of Family Promise. She's done an incredible job lifting up the lives of people of all walks of life. And so as we begin this conversation, let us pray. Gracious and glorious God, we thank you for the opportunity to share from our hearts how we can make a difference in the lives of people. Thank you, God, for Family Promise and for its director, Marsha, and for all those who are part of this wonderful journey of life, helping those who are in need of housing to become, oh God, able to move forward in their lives. Bless this conversation, we pray. Amen. Marsha, I cannot say enough about how grateful I am to be part of the board where you lead and you have led so effectively. And could you tell us this whole mission of Family Promise?
Sure, thank you. And thank you, Pastor Quann, for having me here. We've had a 10-plus year relationship. You were, on at the time, the Interfaith Housing Alliance board when I was hired. So I'm thankful for this partnership that we have with Bethlehem. And so Family Promise is an organization that provides housing and supportive services for families with children that are experiencing homelessness. So in addition to being able to offer shelter, a place for people to be and, be safe, we also offer supportive services with case management and some financial assistance so that we can help families gain their independence or re-independence, because they were at one point, being able to live self-sufficiently, but then something happened. It could have been, they had a health issue or a financial setback, a job loss, and they lose their housing. So they come to us through, the county has a program called Your Way Home, and they come to us through a referral process, and then we have a case manager who works with the families and helps them build their savings and build their self-esteem and get back on the road to housing security and a more stable life. And in addition to that, we have partnered with the congregations in our community because it's expensive to provide shelter, to have a building and things like that. But our founder, Lee Berry, 30 plus years ago, thought of a way of doing the work that we do that was going to not require us to have a building to shelter families in. We partner with the faith community, and we've had amazing partnerships with 24 to 28 congregations here in the greater Ambler area who 1 month a year will turn their Sunday school rooms into bedrooms for our families. And that partnership is not only amazing to me that the congregations are willing to continue to do that work when it's challenging, like COVID, changed the world for all of us, and it changed congregations. I mean, volunteers, there's sometimes not as many volunteers, but we work with the congregations and the faith community to provide amazing support to our families every month, every year, 24, there's not 24 months in the year, there's 12 months in a year, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, we're providing shelter to families with children who are experiencing homelessness. And, it's been our experience that our families, one of the things that we hear a lot is how not only are, volunteers supporting them, but changing the lives of our families. I know Bethlehem has created a few programs that are providing financial assistance to families so that they can get into apartments, and so many other partnerships and relationships that we've been able to build over the last 30 years has really impacted so many families that otherwise would just not have a place to be at night.
One of the things I'm grateful for in keeping with our mission here at Bethlehem is that for a number of years we've been housing families in October, and at the same time providing opportunity for those families to hopefully be supportive and maintain their own homes at some point in their lives. Tell us where you're located and how many families you have in that location.
Okay, so Family Promise has our office building on Spring Garden Street in Ambler. We have a building that houses our staff, and that building also has 8 apartments. So in addition to our emergency shelter or network, which is the part of our program that works with families and congregations. So typically we're housing 3 families in our network program. So each church has 3 families at a time that move from congregation to congregation. And then in Ambler at Hope, we call it Hope Gardens, which is the name of our building. It has 8 apartments. And so there typically we have 8 families, which could be, 30, 40 people, depending on the family size. And then we've had that program for about 30 years. And then it was in 2016, another one of our congregations, our faith, partners, did a capital campaign, and they helped us purchase another building in Ambler. And then more recently, about 4 years ago, COVID, no, it's probably 5 years ago, we bought another building in Lansdale. So in addition to the 8 apartments that we have in Ambler, we have 2 other off-site buildings that will house a total of 4 families. So that's, that makes an impact on the community because, in Montgomery County, we've recently, the reports are out from last year, homelessness is up. There's at least 450 families or individuals that are experiencing homelessness every night in Montgomery County. And really there are only 4 family shelters in Montgomery County. In this huge county, there's only 4 places where families can stay intact if they experience homelessness, and we're one of those. So I feel like there's a great responsibility for us to do the work that we do, and a great need in our community to be able to continue, doing the work that we do.
I know your thoughts are so true because I'm privileged to serve on Montgomery County Housing Authority, and the number of people who live in the streets is amazing. Do you have any success stories in terms of how some of those families have been able to get back on their feet?
We do. There's lots of success stories. And, we do a monthly newsletter, and one of the success stories that comes to mind, typically the families in our program are single mom or a mom with her children. But because we have apartments and because we have congregations that provide individual rooms for our families, we can take intact families. So if the family's got a mom and a dad, we can take that, that family can come into our program. And sometimes families are just an individual dad. So one of the success stories is Kerry, and we've featured him in lots of our newsletters, so he's pretty open about his journey. He came to us as a single dad with 2 small children before he was in our Hope Gardens program, which again, in that program, families they pay rent, they get an apartment, and they can stay there for up to 2 years. He was actually in a program like ours in Philadelphia. He was in a shelter program where he went from congregation to congregation, and then he came to us, and he spent 2 years with us and rebuilt his life. He left our program, moved into an apartment on his own, and since that time, his children have grown. They were like little ones when they were in our program, and now they're in high school, and he's become an author. He's a published author.
Oh,
He,
wow.
Carey Smith or Christopher Carey, I believe is the name of his website. He's done at least 3 or 4 books, and he really credits the time that he had at Family Promise, which back then it was Interfaith Housing Alliance. That that is part of our history, and he was in that program, and it gave him a chance to get a job, get his life in order, and really fulfill his passion of writing books. We helped him, we connected him with an organization that helped him do a business plan, And so he was able to do that. And now he still works a 9-to-5 job, but he's been able to fulfill that lifelong passion to tell stories about, it's about a family and a little girl. And one of the stories is about how he learned to do his daughter's hair.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's one of many success stories. And success looks different for everybody. It doesn't mean that I'm a published writer. It means that I am able to stay together with my family and, live a full life.
When we talk about success, I have to think of you. I can't remember how many years ago that Lee Barry, who founded Interfaith Housing Alliance, spoke to me about coming on board. I was not aware of what they were doing at that time, but I've watched you lead us in such a marvelous way and grown to the extent that we're now looking at working in Norristown with another group or so, and your passion, your vision is certainly something that we admire. And I grew up in a home that was, in rambles at times, but the fact that we had a home, and I can't even perceive what it means to be homeless or to move from church to church, those kind of things. And I'm grateful for the people of Bethlehem who respond in ways that people feel welcomed and warm. And can you just tell us about the increase in terms of where Family Promise is now working with another network and how that is unfolding?
Sure. So again, Lee Berry, who's our founder, who we're grateful that Lee's still part of, part of our organization. And she was a visionary back then because, having setting up the type of program that she did that not just helped families like right there, but knew that journey from homelessness to stability was a journey. It didn't happen overnight. And so she worked really hard then to be able to set up the apartments. And so we had, I had, when we came here, there was a good foundation. There was somebody who was thinking a growth mindset and really set us up to think about what we could do as an organization. And so we've had some great successes with fundraising and foundation money and some federal grant money that's allowed us to do updates to our building. We put a new facade on just this past year, and right now one of the things that's really important to us is that our building and our programs are accessible to all communities, and that we serve a diverse population. So one of the other projects that we're looking at is, hopefully in 2025 we're going to be able to put an elevator in our building so that it's accessible to everybody, no matter what their abilities are. And then there was an opportunity last year that presented itself for us to consider partnering with another Family Promise that's here in Montgomery County. And, that has not been finalized yet, so we can't really say that that's a done deal, but we are working hard to work with Family Promise of the Mainline as they transition from a full-time executive director to needing some leadership and management. So for the last year, we've been supporting that organization with management and technology and financial leadership assistance, and that we hope in 2025 that we'll be able to announce that we've come together and are going to be able to serve a bigger network and involve the faith community along the main line that is already continue to keep them involved like they currently are with, again, a network program that uses is supported with so much support from the faith community. And again, I'm always amazed that we've had this amazing relationship with Bethlehem and with you, and when I think back on my 11 years here, that's just been a gift. It really has. The love and the compassion and the way that members here at Bethlehem are living out their faith by serving and supporting our families is amazing to me and a gift. And again, it's we're evolving, right? We were one organization 25 years ago where we did things a certain way, and COVID, we learned that we could do things a little bit differently. And I'm grateful that everybody's open to to looking at new ideas and trying new things and being able to take that step out in a leap of faith sometimes, you know, because it's not the way we've done things, and change is not always easy. But, you know, Bethlehem and the faith community supports us, has really been behind us, and I just feel has been a gift. And, you know, you can see folks living out their faith every day when they do the work that they do, because it's not easy work.
Well, you know, one of the things that we stand on is the Word of God. When I was hungry, you gave me something to eat. When I was a stranger, you took me in. When I was in prison, you came to see about me. And I believe that this is a dynamic of what we are supposed to do as a people of God, what the Lord requires us to do: justice, love, mercy. And I think the thing that really is so meaningful to me is it's not just something that you're leading as an organization, your passion, your commitment, and everybody can't do that. And you're at a place now where God has called you, and I can look back over the number of years and see the families we have helped. I see the church, and just recently, last year, we had to go before the township because there were those who were concerned about whether or not we were housing homeless families here. And if the church can't do that, then I don't know where we can depend upon others to do it. That's what we've been called to do. And I'm grateful that we were able to move beyond that. And also grateful, Marcia, I know you're a very modest person, but your leadership has been incredible. And again, I'm just grateful to God to be able to be part of the board. There were several persons here in our church, Leroy Meekins and others, who were very much part of Interfaith as we knew it then, but now Family Promise, and looking at the Blue Bell Rotary in terms of their support and pulling on grants and other kinds of things, your leadership there. And one of our members is now very much involved with the work, Debbie, also, and the church as itself is involved. And what I want more than anything else is not about Pastor Quann, that in years to come, this church will always be engaged with Family Promise and the opportunity God's given us to make a difference. And this is just one dimension of what we do. We have a pantry. We go downtown, feed the homeless, Chosen 300. We have a home in Kenya. So we do home mission and we do foreign mission. And that's what the church has been called to do. And it's an honor to be able to sit next to you and know that we are in the same path together. And your leadership and the board itself, where individuals have made a commitment. Many of them volunteer, come in and clean the building up and do those kind of things. What is your vision for the future?
So what is my vision for the future? You know, I think I look at our organization and say we've accomplished a lot, but there's still more to do. And, you know, if we can go back to one of the things that you were talking about is like, what are we called to do? And I think, and what my understanding is that the Bible talks about poverty more times than it talks about many other things that and that's, to me, social justice, and what we're called to do is really to lift up people. And so, you know, if our Bible tells us that that is a priority, we need, you know, we have so many different things that we can be called to do, that I think that, you know, social justice and addressing what I feel is a world where there is so much inequality right now, not only around racism and ageism, and have those who have and don't have, that Family Promise is not only going to be, you know, doing the work that we do, but really looking at how we can advocate for our community and those that are in need. Because, you know, we can have the best shelter program and a great food pantry and all these things, but if we don't look at the work upstream, like what our government and what, you know, what our policies are around zoning, right? What you went through with trying to do that. So that is one of the core tenets that we as an organization are going to be looking at, you know, to continue to do the work that we do, continue to support families, but how as an organization can we do more in terms of advocacy? Like last year, the whole staff went to Harrisburg, and we did a day of advocacy, and we need to do more of that, because really, in order for us to change and improve the quality of life for all of God's people, especially the least of those, we have to look upstream. We have to, we can't, I know Commissioner Arcouche, she's not commissioner anymore, she's Secretary Arcouche, right? One time told the story, we're looking downstream as to why all these children are drowning when in fact, if we go upstream and we stop throwing them in the river, we might do better. And so that's I think one of our visions for the organization, as we have a great staff who does amazing work, that now we're going to say, okay, in addition to this work, how as an organization can we do more advocacy work that will help maybe change the trajectory of the work that we do and change the social injustice that happens in our society.
When we talk about homelessness, we also talk about food insecurity. And I'm really grateful for Reverend Marshall Mitchell and the people at Salem Baptist Church. And talk about the pantry that you have there and new initiatives for how people can get food with dignity.
Right. And dignity is important. I'm glad you said that. That is an important piece of what we do in Ambler at our housing programs. I mean, that was one of the reasons that we did the facade work. We want people to be proud and have dignity of where they live. But the food pantry, which is, I have to give thanks to our relationship with Bethlehem and your relationship with Reverend Mitchell, for that we even have a pantry there. Right. So we had a little pantry that had to move, and we moved around for a little bit, and then right when around COVID, we needed to find a permanent home for our food pantry. So we connected. It was actually in January. It was at a Martin Luther King service. We connected with Pastor Mitchell, and they have a beautiful campus over in Abington, Roslyn, and they had a big 2,500 square foot basement that was a dirt floor, and we worked together with that partnership and with Phil Abundance, who provided funding, that we now have a state-of-the-art 2,500 square foot food pantry that serves thousands of people a year. And again, we do it with dignity. We give people choice. They get to shop. And we knew we were doing good work, but we also knew that we could do more. So one of our latest initiatives that is actually going to be kicking off this month or next month are food lockers. We've been able to secure funding to buy food lockers, like Amazon lockers, where you can go, have a code on your phone, open up your locker, and get a week's worth of food, and not just shelf-stable food, because that helps, but not really what we wanted to be able to do. The lockers have ambient, frozen, and fresh, so that a family that needs food can put an order in at our online ordering system, and then come the next day or the following day, whenever they schedule the appointment, and get all that food that they would typically be able to get if they would visit the food pantry. And for us, that speaks to the fact that our food pantry is open 4 days a week, and it has an evening and a Saturday, but that still doesn't work for everybody. And having a food locker where people can go, maybe they work till 11 o'clock at night. They can stop on their way home from work and pick up their food. That to us was like the next step in how we, get food out there, and also how we're able to provide food the way the community that needs the food, we can serve them with dignity.
I think that's wonderful, and I know that Reverend Marshall Mitchell has a heart for God's people, and to see the pantry there, that it's unbelievable and serves so many people. And these new ideas, I was thinking as you were talking, what fight we would have with the township if we had to deal with food lockers here in Montgomery County, but I think those are the initiatives that are so meaningful. Yeah. When we also talk about the board, and we've had real leadership at the board, and we have a good leader now that's working with you and the board, and just a wonderful opportunity to serve people, whether it's food, whether it's housing. And dignity, again, is a word that we constantly use, that those families will not feel as though they're less than anybody else. And it's a blessing. And I've seen the growth here at Bethlehem as we started and where we are now. And as I indicated earlier, I want this to be something that lasts well after I'm gone home to glory, that this church is committed to provide care to those in need. And when I talk about, again, homelessness in Montgomery County, it's real. I see people living in the streets. There's no place to live, and then in affordable housing is another challenge. And so that's what we've been called to do, and I'm just grateful for your leadership and for the opportunity to be part of the board for the number of years and to see how we've grown, not just in terms of larger facility and modernized facilities, but more important, how families are being treated with a sense of respect and honor, and see families get back up on their feet. And you've been very instrumental in helping that happen. And to me, that is what I call success. And you also serve with humility. And your passion is still there. I know there's many challenges. You're like a pastor in terms of providing care for people. And these are challenging times, and dealing with all of the restrictions from townships and those kind of things. But your strength and your fortitude is, this is what we're going to do. And we move forward in terms of doing that. Food lockers is something that it's really great. And I remember, again, even here at the pantry, we provide people opportunity to select the food they want. We just don't give them something. Right. So they have a chance, like you're going to the market, they can select what they would like to have. And we're just grateful to God for those here at Bethlehem who serve in the pantry and provide the care, because no matter what the pastor may want, and people don't follow, then we still have not achieved anything. So we're just grateful for each individual, for their life and for their dedication and for their willingness. What would you say in your final words to those who are watching about how individuals can help?
So there's lots of ways people can get involved. I think one is like educate ourselves. Like, I mean, I think that one of, helping out, we have lots of, that's the other thing that we do. We have a great staff that works with volunteers. Like today I left the office, and we have a group of about 20 people there from Toll Brothers that are, helping us do the work that we do. We are a small organization that typically has, anywhere, COVID's changed things again, anywhere from 800 to 1,500 volunteers a year who provide support for us. So, think about, like, what is your passion? If you have a passion for helping people, can I volunteer at the food pantry? Can I help in our office? Can I serve on the board? And, I know, Pastor Quann, that, one of the things that you're looking at is not just, because pastor wants it, but that the church wants it and the members want it. And I'm going to say that that's happening. We've had, members from Bethlehem on our board. I have an amazing staff person, Debbie Badger, who came to me through this relationship. So I know that your congregation, your flock gets it, and thank you for all that you do. But again, we have a website. We have a great website, Family Promise, Montco, PA. There's lots of opportunities. And again, I also think it's important that we all try to learn about the issues. Let's just not assume somebody that we see on the street is homeless because they're too lazy and don't want to work or have this. There are a lot of reasons why people become homeless. And a lot of them are just things that are outside of their control. And, as we learn more, we know more. And we can do better.
Yeah, I find it amazing as I look back over my life. And early on in my life, I had to quit school because my mother and father were separated, and we were renting. And the landlord died, and the city said either you have to buy the house or you have to move. And so I dropped out of school to go to work so we wouldn't lose our home. And now the fact that I'm able to serve on the Housing Authority or be part of the board. And that's also true in terms of working with Abington Hospital and going through that experience, working with hospice. So the things I do now come out of some of those experiences. And I know that many individuals who serve have also been blessed to regroup and go through some of those experiences. We all have different experiences. And yet at the same time, we can give back. And you have given back so much. And so I'm looking forward to some new things that you have in store for us to do. I want Bethlehem to continue to be committed, and anything that we can do, that we will make sure that we continue as partners. I'm also part of the interfaith here in our community, and we've had transition in some of the leaders of pastors, but I'm hoping that we can continue to get congregations in our community to be supportive of Family Promise. And I know the Blue Bell Rotary and all the things that are involved with people, and housing is so important.
It is.
And I think about the countless people in California now who have lost their homes and their possessions, and many of them have no place to go. So, again, it's real, and people lose their homes for a variety of reasons. And so we don't want to marginalize people or judge people. We want to be able to help people. And that's what you've been doing, and you continue to do that. So I'm blessed to be able to sit next to you, to work under your leadership, and see you as a CEO
Yeah.
of
We're partners.
Partners. That's
Yep.
right. Nothing can happen by themselves.
Right.
So again, thank you so much for your sharing. Anything else you want to say before we close out?
Well, thank you for having me part of this conversation. It's been great.
You're not only part of the conversation, you're part of Bethlehem.
I heard that I don't even get to stand up anymore as a visitor. I am part of the family, and it's a great family to be a part of. It really is.
Thank you so much. Thank you this evening for sharing with us in this conversation. If you'd like to know more about Family Promise, please call the church 215-643-4977. They are willing to assist in any way they can. And Bethlehem Baptist Church is also willing to provide any kind of care and support that you may need. We are a church on fire for God, and our mission again is to love God and serve people. And with that said, see you next week. Invite somebody to come and share from the pastor's heart.